Hi there, I'm back with another synthesizer video here. Today I'm taking a look at Dexz. I wouldn't say that it is a DX7 clone, because although it has the same architecture and can actually load DX7 sounds, it's so much more than a DX7 ever was. The DX7 was my first synth, the first synth I bought, and I chose between buying the DX7 or a Prophet 600, and I decided for the DX7, and I don't regret that. It was a great synth. I don't still have it. I have sold it and bought a bunch of plug-in synths instead, but I miss it. So when I came across this Dexz, which is a module that runs inside of Cherry Audio's Voltage Modular, I saw it on the internet, and a friend of mine, Hans Lema, who runs Request for Music, who has made this synth, made a video about it, and I thought that, wow, that is cool. But do I really need another FM synth? I already have several. I have Dexz, I have Synclavier, and I have Symplant. So no, I didn't need it, but I wanted it, so I bought it anyway, and I don't regret that. I would like to start to play some sounds from Dexz, some sounds that I have made, just so you can hear how it sounds. This is a sound called Filtrus Funkium. This is another sound that Hans Holmena has made, and it's called Blade Mel. I think you can hear what the source of inspiration is for this one. Here's the sound that I made that's called Tail Plucker 2. It's more of a traditional FM synth sound. Here is another one that I made. It's called the Saw Strings. And here is a sound that I made that I call Double Duty. As you can see, it involves two instances of Dexz. As you can hear, you can get a very wide variety of sounds out of Dexz. You can get the classic DX7 sounds, and you can get sounds that sound more analog. Let's go through Dexz and see what the parameters are. As you can see, it has a very clear structure. You have the operators here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here you have the algorithms, just like on the DX7. But it's color coded, so all the carriers are purple and all the modulators are green, and that goes through the whole workflow, the whole synth. Even when you look at the envelopes, you can easily see what is a carrier and what is a modulator. All the operators have the same controls, so although it looks like a lot of buttons, you only need to learn one operator, then you know them all. You have the level here. You just change it with your mouse like this, and you have the octave. You can have a ratio or a fixed ratio, and you have the fine tuning here. You have feedback. On the DX7 you can only have feedback on the operator that had the feedback loop, but here you have some sort of feedback on all the operators. Which helps to shape the wave. You have a detune, plus minus 50 cents. You can change the phase. Will not hear any difference on one operator with the sine. You have the envelopes here, which you can change directly here. And a yellow dot that follows with the sound. Like that. You can also get a bigger view of these envelopes. I will show you that later. Here you have the velocity. And here you have the keyboard level scaling. You can pan every operator. And you have a knob here that says wave. And here it also says wave. In the DX7 you could only have sine waves, and other type of waves you had to make by combining different ratios between the carrier and the modulator. But here you have the sine wave, of course, but then you have a folded wave. And you can change the folding threshold with this knob here. So that gives you quite a lot of more sonic possibilities. You also here have a built-in reverb with a kind of chorus. detune function here. Works like a kind of chorus. A bit less reverb, I think. And you can control the feedback. The tail of the reverb. Like that. And you can control the tone of the reverb if you want it bright or dark. Bright. And dark. You also have the modes here. You can have it mono. You can have it unison, and you can decide how many voices you want. I'm not quite sure what Pune is. I have never used it actually. Oh, it's duophonic. And you can detune it more. Right, so that's the modes. You also have a very interesting thing here. This little W here, if you click it, it opens up this page. You have several pages of user waveforms. These waveforms that's here now, they don't come with a basic install, but Request for Music has a Dropbox page where you can download them from. And I will put the link in the comments. So if we check out some of these. The wave knob here doesn't do anything on the user waveforms. You can have a saw. Becomes a little dirty if you had feedback on it. And you can of course have a pulse. That can be rather interesting. It opens up for a bigger variety of different waveforms and sounds that you can make. So let's add here a modulator. And we can have, it's a fold now, we can have a square. So now we can check out the envelopes, but let's set up some more operators here. If you want to copy an operator, you can hold down Shift and Alt. You click on it, copy it, operator, and then you go to where you want to copy it, and you press Alt, just without Shift, and it's pasted. And we can paste it there too. Then we bring in these. So these envelopes, you can change them here. Good for fast experimenting. But if you want to have a better view of the envelopes, you can hold down Shift and click on the background here, and it opens up this window where you can set the envelope with more precision. You see here that you have the operators here, 1 to 6, and the color coding from the algorithm is visible here too. So you can see which ones are carriers and which ones are modulators. You can, with these buttons, you can zoom in. And you can zoom out again. You can change the height, lower it. You can reset. That doesn't reset the envelope, but just the view of the envelope. You have fit here. You can always drag with the mouse like this, or you can hit fit, and it will fit the whole envelope curve into this window. One thing to look out for, if you go back to operator 1 here, is this 4th point, because if it's not on 0, you get this. The sound just continues. Until you bring it down. And this point here is a little hard to see. Point 4. If that is not 0, you get a hanging note. So that's one thing to watch out for. Okay. So let's see what we can do with these. I think I want attack on that too. And let's go to operator 6. Crank up the feedback. How about we use a user waveform on that one? Draw and sew. compare that to just a sine. Folded. Then you get noise. Right, let's have noise. A little bit. Right. As you can see, we have also LFOs here, but we'll come back to them later, I think. Let's look at the rest of the buttons here. You can transpose. You have drift. I will exaggerate it a bit so you can hear it. And you have spread here. That spreads the voices. Not very good for melodies, but it is great for pads. You can have glide. And you have the general feedback here. In this algorithm, it's 5 and 6 here that has the feedback loop, and we have already cranked up the feedback on 6. And we can crank it up even more with this feedback. And here we have an interesting knob and switch. It's called character. When it's down, you get a clean sound. If we take away the feedback here, we take away the feedback here, this is the digital to audio converter that was in the DX7, or the equivalent to it. You can dial it in with this. The upper setting is a dirty deck. This synth can both sound clear and clean and downright dirty. So you have a lot of options. And you can use the detune here to get some chorus effects. If I detune these first two carriers here, 1 and 3, and the last thing that we come to in this video is the filter. The next video I will deep dive in the modulation matrix, but that's so deep so it will take a long time, so I will not put them in the same video. But it doesn't seem to do much. That's because you have to use the filter envelope here. You have the user suspects here, cutoff, resonance, and you can also double click on this and bring out the big view here. And the modulation amount. It's the same as on any analog synth. You decide how much the envelope will affect the cutoff. And you have the filter type here. Right now it's low pass, 12 dB, 24 here, band pass, and you have high pass, and you have a notch, and you have peak. And this filter really gives that analog feel that FM synthesizer is certainly not famous for. And it really gives you a lot more variation and possibilities to tailor the sound. It's a great feature. It's a very good sounding filter. So I think this is enough for today. The next video I make, I will take a deep dive into the Modulation Matrix. Happy programming, and thank you for sticking with me this long. Bye.